Today's movie's a special request from Patreon supporter Rachel Manista, who asked me to review any Caroline Munro movie. Alright, haven't done one of her movies in a while, and I think I know just what to pick. Yeah, that's right, everybody. It's Hammer time. While I have spotlighted a few Hammer flicks on this show before, it's kinda weird I haven't done more of their vampire flicks, since those are arguably what Hammer was best known for. That'd be like if I reviewed some Shaw Brothers movies but didn't do many kung fu flicks, which I guess I'm also kinda guilty of. Filmed in 1972 but not released until 1974, Captain Kronos' Vampire Hunter was the only film directed by Brian Clemens, a screenwriter who worked on TV shows like The Avengers, as well as movies like See No Evil, The Golden Voyage of Sinbad, and The Watcher in the Woods. And also Highlander 2 The Quickening, but let's just forget about that one. While previous Hammer flicks tended to focus on the vampires, Christopher Lee's Dracula being the most famous example, this movie decided to highlight the guy killing him in something of a throwback to old pulp heroes like Solomon Kane. While taking inspiration from old pulp stories, the concept of a vampire hunting hero also has similarities to more modern characters like Blade and Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Hammer hoped that this would be the beginning of a series of films featuring Kronos, although that didn't end up happening, which must mean it was really successful. Too bad this wasn't made in the 80s or 90s. Back then, horror movies got sequels regardless of how the first one did. And because this is a Hammer production, what better way to start than with an extreme close-up of some old-timey English lady's chest?
Well, vanity is a sin, isn't it, Anne? Well, if that's the only one, you'll do.
Between the soft focus and the costumes, this almost feels like I'm about to watch a softcore version of Hansel and Gretel. In a Hammer movie, BBC stands for Big Black Cloak. Okay, I joke, but I think this is about to turn into a porn. And just as a reminder, porn stars look a lot different without makeup. Alright, this movie may not have Christopher Lee or Peter Cushing in it, but it does have Caroline Munro, which helps make up for it. Anyway, here's our main character, Captain Kronos, played by German actor Horst Janssen. But enough about him, get to the real star of this movie.
And what crime have you committed?
I danced on a Sunday.
You're lucky. Normally that's punishable by death in Footlooseshire. She's actually in there for molesting and murdering several children, but whatever, she's hot. Let her go so she can tag along. This is Carla, and because she's played by Caroline Munro, I guess that means I have to play this. Yeah, hopefully all the people who have that song posted on YouTube appreciate all the extra hits I'm giving them. Meanwhile, in the Hammer production of Little House on the Prairie, this girl gets a bracelet as a present for her birthday. She's 16 going on 25. Instead of having a party though, she's going picking for what most of the people who saw this movie back in the 70s were on. That guy didn't actually do anything to her, the shroom she picked just finally kicked in. And I'm not joking about the drugs, even Kronos is lighting up a fat blunt right now. But where are my manners? I haven't finished introducing all the characters yet.
I'm Grost. Professor Hieronymus Grost.
Yeah, don't worry, I could tell by your facial hair your name was something like Hieronymus. Also, you might want to pop that boil on your back there, Doc. Alright, at first it may seem like a cliche for Kronos' assistant to be a hunchback, but considering Grost is actually the brains of the operation and is polite and gentlemanly instead of your standard drooling hunchback, it's actually a pretty clever subversion.
What about him? What's the K stand for?
But the K stands for Kronos.
And with a name like that, he's either a vampire hunter or the host of an educational kids show. Meanwhile, looks like the girl from earlier isn't doing too well. Look, don't be too upset. Considering the time you live in, she was probably gonna die of some disease before she turned 30 anyway. Good thing Kronos is around to solve this mystery. Ooh, and I see he has a katana. Kronos was an otaku before it was still not really that cool. To investigate the killings, Kronos has been called to this village by his old friend Dr. Marcus.
Kronos,
Marcus.
You son of a bitch.
Your letter urges to make all speed, but gave no reason.
Young girls suddenly become greatly aged.
And old chicks are totally gross, dude. You gotta help us out. Well, there's only one explanation for what's going on here.
Vampires.
What? No, it can't be.
Why not? The name of the movie isn't Captain Kronos Werewolf Hunter. And, easy there, Gross. Save that shit for the rap party.
It is commonly supposed that a vampire attacks in only one way, by biting the neck and draining the victim of blood. The girls you spoke of, they were not drained of blood, but of youth, of life itself.
Ah, so we're dealing with life force vampires then. Alright, at least that means Caroline Munro will have some competition.
But these girls were invulnerable. Each one wore a crucifix.
The cross can only protect those who firmly believe.
Oh, never mind. It's actually Fright Night vampires killing everyone.
You see, Doctor, there are as many species of vampire as there are beasts of prey.
Okay, I joke, but the idea that there's several different types of vampires, each with their own powers and weaknesses, is another clever touch. And if this had turned into a series, would have been a good way to add some variety and keep the heroes on their toes. Although I think the vampires here might come in even more varieties than they think. Oh shit, she's getting attacked by Gumby! Kronos better put a stop to this quick!
I suppose you'll be moving on now.
No, I'm staying, if you'll have me.
Oh. I'll have you.
Or, you know, just flirt with Caroline Munro. Probably what I'd do too. Damn, more young girls aged before their time. Another victim of Angela Lansbury syndrome. I know Hammer already teamed up with Shaw Brothers on Legend of the Seven Golden Vampires, but looking at the costumes here, it's kind of a shame they didn't make a Brotherhood of the Wolf style movie. Anyway, Marcus is friends with a rich family called the Derwards, whose matriarch has become a withered old crone. But I'm sure this has nothing to do with the vampires. Speaking of which, how are you planning on catching them?
Toad in the hole.
Toad in the hole sounds like it could be a British breakfast food or a British sex position. Meanwhile, in Captain Chronic...
It's an old Chinese herb.
Oh, you thought I was kidding? Kronos remembered to bring plenty of Shanghai Kush with him on this trip. In addition to drugs, Kronos also gets a sex scene, and it even comes pre-censor barred. You know, even though the stylish lighting is technically saving me work, this is one time where I really wish it wasn't. I'm starting to question Kronos' methods here. While he's busy getting high and getting laid, the vampire's claiming more victims. Look, it even turned this poor girl into David Johansen. And just what was with the toads earlier anyway?
If a vampire should be strode close to the grave of a dead toad, then the vampire life shall give, and suddenly the toad shall live.
Alright, I appreciate you trying to mix things up a bit, but these vampire rules are getting a little weird. Well, this toad's alive, which means we're either dealing with vampires, or hell's finally come to Frogtown. Armed with this knowledge, Kronos could try and track down the vampire, or he could just go to the local bar and get hammered. I don't know if there's any vampires in here, but this place does seem to be full of assholes.
Tell me, how do you sleep at night? On your belly, or in a hammock?
I sleep with Caroline Munro, loser. Now piss off, will ya? Oh wait, he was actually talking to Grost.
Crookback will do for me.
But not me,
Why?
because I don't like it.
Oh, he doesn't like it.
I don't like you either.
It's appropriate I made that reference, since that's basically where the scene's going. Oh shit, he PG Tarantino'd him to death. Actually, this movie's rated R, which makes me wonder why the cinematographer was being such a prude earlier. Meanwhile, Marcus goes to visit the Derwards at their house/museum. I think I know what to expect here.
How is your mother?
No better.
But your dear sister Sarah, she's well.
Very?
I'm delighted to hear it.
Small talk so dry you could start a fire with it. They even keep a stiff upper lip when discussing black magic shit.
Witchcraft and necromancy. That's the rumor in the village.
Yes. A grim business.
Ah, yes, Satanism, raising the dead and all that. It's such a dreadfully dull affair now, isn't it? Anyway, would you care for another brandy? I think I'll help myself, yes. And hey, Florence Henderson's in this movie? These two are siblings Paul and Sarah Derward, who have been caring for their elderly mother ever since their father died a few years earlier.
Someone called just now.
It was Dr. Marcus. He said he was just passing by.
Passing by. This road doesn't lead anywhere.
Damn, their mother's so old she's suffering from 80 arthritis. As much as I joke, this movie does have some stylish moments and makes great use of the English countryside. I mean, how many vampire movies can you think of that take place almost entirely during the daytime? Great, not only did Marcus just encounter a vampire, but he also ruined his gloves. Anyway, what's Kronos been up to?
Still, nothing like a leech or two, a little bloodletting to cool a man's veins, eh?
The leeches aren't there for health reasons. Losing blood while smoking a blunt gets you super fucking high. So far, we've only seen the vampire drain girls of their youth, but that's not all they do in this movie. That's right, they also kill people with a bat to the face. Kronos seems pretty good at killing humans, but he's really got to work on his vampire hunting skills. Especially since it's pretty obvious the Derwards have something to do with what's going on.
We are Derwards, remember. The Derwards have always been renowned for their usefulness. What has happened to Mother will not happen to us, dear sister. I promise you. It will not happen to us.
You know, even though they're brother and sister, I still get the feeling these two want to bang the shit out of each other. Speaking of which, this movie's really pushing the almost nudity as far as it can go. And again, considering it's already rated R, that seems a little weird. Hell, you could probably get away with this in a 70s PG movie. Kronos may not be half vampire, but just like Blade, his mom was bitten by one.
Yes, both of them, mother and sister, fallen to the scourge of vampirism. Had to destroy them. To bare their breasts.
I don't know if you had to do that second part. Hey, Marcus, you been just fermenting your hair? Oh, looks good, bro. Well, Marcus has clearly been struck with vampirism, which means there's only one thing Kronos can do. A punch to the face. A vampire's one weakness. Who am I kidding? There's like a million ways to kill a vampire. To start, they're gonna try croqueting a stake through his heart, and if that doesn't work, try setting him on fire while hanging him.
This is what killed him.
Lead poisoning. Got it. Unfortunately, because they're not accredited vampire hunters, to the townspeople it looks like Kronos and Gross just straight up murdered a man in broad daylight, which means now they have to deal with a crowd of angry villagers that normally would be going after Dracula in a horror movie. And instead of torches, they all brought swords. Hopefully he can handle all of them. Okay, never mind, that was easy. Seriously, this entire action sequence is over in about 20 seconds. Good work, Kronos. So far you've killed 0 vampires and about half the town you were sent to help. He's gonna have to kill some vampires eventually, though, which means they need to make him a sword out of a holy cross. First, though, he's got to exfoliate.
A sword fit for a king. Or a Kronos.
Ooh, and the sword even comes with its own sound effect transitions. Meanwhile, in Hammer's The Company of Wolves, I gotta give the filmmakers credit, even during the day these woods look scary, although I think they might be trying to pretend it's nighttime here. Come on, Kronos, we're over an hour in and you still haven't killed one vampire yet. Get cracking, will ya? Well, he's too late to save this family, but at least the blood made the lighting more moody. Alright, it's pretty obvious that whatever's happening here has something to do with the Derwards, so maybe you should start there.
Is it possible, Grost? She is beautiful, young, and fair.
What, are you saying vampires can't be sexy? I know for a fact that ain't true. Kronos better be extra careful, though. Everyone knows vampires can't stand the sight of a plus sign.
Time to kill a vampire.
About time. I think you've killed enough humans so far. The plan is to use Carla as bait to distract the Derwards while Kronos and Gross sneak inside, because if you want to catch a fish, you gotta use the best bait.
What were you doing out there?
I ran away, sir, from my father. Please, if I could stay here just for tonight, sir, I beg of you.
Well, okay. You can take the couch. Anyway, my sister and I are going to bang like rabbits upstairs. Got to keep the inbred Derwood line pure, after all. Feel free to join in if you like. I'm not really sure what Kronos' plan is once he gets inside, but the stylish cinematography and camera work is really setting the mood. Alright, I know I keep joking about this turning into a porn, but it does kind of feel like that's where this is going. And get ready for the big twist, the Derwards siblings aren't the vampires. Although I do think they were getting ready to bang each other.
Mother?
The bloom of youth. Why should that appall you? Is it wrong to be young and beautiful again?
Holy shit, their mom's a vampire MILF. And that ain't all. Turns out their dad's not dead either. Well, kind of, anyway.
I awakened him, brought him back from the dead.
Never mind his ghoulish appearance. In a family this inbred, nobody's gonna ask any questions. And if you're wondering why Lady Derward's doing all this, it's just because she didn't want to get old. Members of the aristocracy had to use extreme methods to hold on to their looks before the invention of plastic surgery.
Her life will be yours. Take her.
Hey, nobody sucks face with Caroline Munro but me, asshole! They established earlier that Lord Derwood was a master swordsman, and you know what that means. Climactic sword fight.
To the death.
Well, joke's on you. I'm already dead, bitch! Here's another way this tries to subvert old vampire movie cliches. Rather than the standard finale where the heroes open the vampire's coffin and drive a stake through his heart while he's sleeping, we instead get an extended sword fight. And while the choreography may not be as elaborate, this did prove pretty influential on later vampire action movies. Let's see, should I put Duel of the Fates or the Star Trek fight music over this? Screw it, I won't do either. Now this probably isn't going to do the standard stake through the heart ending, so how is Kronos going to defeat Lord Derwood? Damn it, Kronos, a sword to the duodenum isn't a vampire weakness, even in this movie. Apparently a throat slashing is, though, which almost earns this movie its R rating. Almost. Bad news, your parents are both dead. Good news, you'll finally get that inheritance you've both been waiting for.
You must go now. Go where?
Anywhere. Everywhere. Wherever there is evil to be fought. But on lonely nights, I shall think of you.
Just like me. And so Kronos rides off in search of further adventures. Or at least that was the plan. Like I said at the beginning, Hammer originally wanted this to lead to a series of Captain Kronos films and possibly even a TV show, but the movie's failure at the box office combined with Hammer closing its doors a few years later prevented that from happening. Too bad, because Captain Kronos showed a lot of potential, even if it doesn't quite live up to it. A lot of the ideas, such as there being several different types of vampires and the hunchbacked assistant actually being the smart one, were pretty innovative for the time, and could have led to some interesting situations if this had become a series. On the downside, I think Hammer would have been better off hiring a more experienced director since some of the action sequences are a little clunky, like the sword fight in the graveyard, which only lasts a few seconds and is so confusingly edited it's hard to tell what's happening. This is sort of a transitional vampire movie. It tries to play around with cliches while still being rooted in the kind of traditional gothic settings Hammer was known for. I know there's already too many remakes and reboots getting made right now, but if someone decided to give Captain Kronos another shot, I actually think it could work. For now though, I guess this is all we get. Well, actually that's not quite true. There was a Captain Kronos comic book. So hey, there's a way to revive the series. Just say it's another comic adaptation. Well, that's all for now. Until next time.
Laugh. Oh, that's much better.